Welcome to Upshift. In the previous episode, we were talking about the importance of TCFD as well as the 4 pillars that you need to comply when you are going to make TCFD. TCFD stands for Task Force on Climate Related Financial Disclosures. We are going to talk about 6 steps that you need to follow in your business to comply with TCFD standard. Having said that, let me start with the very first step. First and foremost, you need to do a materiality assessment to understand what are the climate risks and opportunities related to your business. To do that, what you need to do is you need to understand first who are your stakeholders across the value chain, and also with the engagement with all these stakeholders. As we discussed in the previous video about materiality assessment, we could do understand what are the material topics or the climate related risks and opportunities associated with all these stakeholders in your business and prioritize them. The second thing that you need to do is, after you do the materiality assessment, it is very important for you to map what are the risks and opportunities that you are going to focus on. There are physical risks that you need to focus on. For example, because of the climate change, there could be numerous physical risks comes towards you. There are certain risks in your supply chain. For example, because of the natural disasters such as drought, flood, hurricane, so on and so forth, your supply chain can be interrupted. Your market can be distracted as well. Not only that, but also your own employees may migrate because of the climate change. All these physical risks you need to understand and evaluate. The second, you need to understand there are certain transitional risks. Because of the demand towards decarbonization, there are plenty of evolvement in the regulatory requirements. As a result of that, how you are going to understand what are the regulatory requirements going to be in place in your business. You need to understand those as well and how effective that you are going to align it. It may create an opportunity for you. For example, if you are aligning well with those regulatory requirements coming towards your business, you may be creating a USP with respect to your competitor. That create an opportunity for you in business. Risk is, if you are not going to meet those requirements, again, you will be in trouble. There will be a lot of regulations related to carbon pricing, for example. Those are the things that you need to understand in terms of transitional risk associated in your business. Having mapping all these risks in your business, the third we call it as doing a scenario analysis. Basically, in a business, climate risks and opportunities can be evaluated based on 2 scenarios. First scenario we call, if the world is moving towards the way that it is going towards. For example, we call it as 4 degrees Celsius, that is the temperature increment with 4 degrees Celsius with respect to pre-industrial level. If it goes like that, the world is expected to experience severe floods, natural disasters, so that all the economy is going to be impacted. As a result of that, your business is also going to be impacted. It can impact your supply chain, it can impact your own operation space, and also it can impact your market as well. If you can analyze those, that is what we call the first scenario, the 4 degrees Celsius scenario analysis. The second scenario is, there is another scenario we call 1.5 degree path scenario. That means if the world is moving towards the decarbonization path, aligning with the Paris Agreement, what will happen is there are plenty of requirements that you need to fulfill in the business point of view. You will have to align with those paths. As a result of that, in case if you are not going to meet it, there will be a lot of transitional risk that you need to manage. As we discussed, it can be regulatory related risk, it can be competition related risk, it can be other operational risks as well. You need to understand how you are going to analyze those risks for the 1.5 degree path as well. As you could see in the screen, I have mapped for one organization, that is for the manufacturing organization, what kind of risk that you could experience through the physical risk as well as transitional risk because of the 2 different pathways. If it's 4 degrees Celsius, you may come across many physical risks that will have a financial impacts in overall context. At the same time, if you are going to follow the scenario 1.5 degree path, what will happen is there will be a lot of transitional risk. Again, there will be fines and other financial risks as well. Those you need to evaluate. That will help you to understand what kind of risk and opportunities that you need to manage in your business, especially focusing on different scenarios. Having said that, after setting the scenarios, what you need to do is you need to embed those into right metrics or the KPIs. If you are unable to set right KPIs to manage the risk that you identify through scenario analysis, you are going to trouble. For example, your target can be come towards science-based target based on the absolute emission, or based on what you said for the SDA base or the sectoral decarbonization approach, or you may have put in the economic intensity related targets as we discussed in the video related to science-based target initiative. In addition, you may set certain other KPIs like energy intensity in your business, for example, or you may have set certain financial targets as well to manage overall climate related risk management. Those 4 steps will help you to understand how you are going to manage overall the climate risk and opportunity that you identified. Having said that, to drive these KPIs, to drive all these things, you need to have a proper governance framework is established. Step number 5 is you need to set right governance framework in your business. How you are going to do the right governance framework? As we discussed that day, you need to have your executive committee who has a better understanding of the climate related risks and opportunities in your business and what you are going to do as a business. Your business strategy required to be incorporated with the risks and opportunities that you have identified related to climate risk. At the same time, you need to understand not only the board, you need to have a risk committee which is reporting to the executive committee of your business to do the anticipation, the evaluation and execution of the overall risk management framework related to climate related risk. And also you need to have the SBU structure to support overall governance framework in the organization. After setting the governance structure, it is important for you to disclose this. Disclose the entire your climate strategy for your stakeholders. Step number 6 is about how you are going to disclose your overall decarbonization strategy and the effectiveness of it based on the 5 steps that you're talking about. To do that, you could use your annual report. Annual report may be done aligning with an international standard like GRI standard or IFRS standards, SDG, UNGC, so on and so forth. At the same time, you could use the reporting framework like CDP as well, for instance, to report how effectively that you manage your climate related risks in your business. Once you do this reporting, your stakeholders come to know about how effective that you manage your climate related risk in your business. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, if I summarize all 6 steps that you need to follow, first you need to do the materiality assessment. Second, you need to understand risks and opportunities across your value chains related to climate change. The third, you need to do scenario analysis. Fourth, what you need to do is set right metrics and KPIs. Number 5, you need to set right governance structure. 6, you need to do the disclosure and reporting. If you could follow those 6 steps in your business, TCFD is not a difficult task for your business. Though many businesses are not doing TCFD, it is easy for you if you follow those 6 steps. Remember, reporting is one step, but more than the reporting, you need to focus on how TCFD is used for your strategic decision making, how effective that is aligning with your business strategy and overall. Stay tuned.